Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mental Wellness Sanctuary with your host, yours truly, Francis McMillan, licensed mental health therapist here in Jacksonville, Florida, guys. Also, life coach, business mentor, qualified supervisor. Y'all, I wear many hats. So, welcome. Thank you guys for joining me this evening for this edition of the Mental Wellness Sanctuary, guys. I think this is a really important topic. So those of you guys that are joining me on Facebook, on YouTube, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Um, I'll give you guys a few moments to pop on. Of course, I always like to tell you guys what is going on with your the Speaker of Life coach, y'all. I just like to keep you guys up to date. So for those of you that are available next month in May, on the 11th, I will be setting up a vending event with or participating actually in a vending event at the Schultz Center. It's like a mental wellness fair. So if you guys get word of that, want to pull up and come out and talk to me, do that. I'll be more than happy to chat with you guys. I'll be out there with my books, with my journals, with my affirmation cards, and just any general questions that you guys might have. I am also letting you guys know I'm always doing something, y'all. Gosh, everything seems to be so accelerated right now. I don't know about that for you guys, but I definitely feel an extensive amount of acceleration just around me. And everything is moving so fast. If I had an analogy of kind of sort of how it looks or how it feels, it's almost like being on the front of the bullet train and just kind of hanging on. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on, guys, with that. So I'm gonna give you guys just another moment to pop on. Do keep in mind though, of course, I gotta show y'all my stuff. I still got my affirmation cards. This is what I'll have at the vending event next month in May on the 11th. I'm also going to be out there with my journals, guys. And I'm also going to be out there with my mask off books. So if you guys would like to meet me out there, I will definitely have these things on hand for you guys to be able to purchase. If you aren't close and you guys are watching me from anywhere that you happen to come across this video and you're interested in getting any of the items that I have, I will ship out to you guys. So don't worry about that as well. You can just place your order on my website and I will certainly ship those out to you. I want to encourage you guys to share, share, comment on these lives. I like for you guys to interact with me if you can. This particular topic is a little bit different, but it's something that's been in my spirit for the last week or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, as I continue to go along with my process, or as I continue to meet with certain people, or as I continue to like grow and mature in different areas, and I watch other people grow and mature around me, I am really honing in on this very important topic because I think it is something that we should pay more attention to, especially in this season, because we don't have a lot of time to do certain things. And so this evening's topic, guys, is about your connections. Your connections matter. So I know you may have seen that in the description box. And I want to talk to you guys briefly about just making sure that you're intentional about your connections. So I was talking to my best friend and she was telling me or sharing something with me and it just literally caught my attention, and it's something that I have been thinking about since then, and it just so happened to kind of coincide with some of the things that I was already noticing around me or paying attention to. So she sent me this and I can't even remember where she got it from, but I wanted to share it with you guys. So, in efforts to help you be a little bit more intentional about the connections that you have and the people that are in your place and in your space, and maybe what season they're supposed to be in, or, what is their purpose in your life? What are they there for? That kind of thing. So, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that briefly to give you guys, a little bit of foundation on what it is that you could kind of sort of do. So it reads as such: the three types of people in your life. Number one, the leaf people. And number two is the branch people. And number three is the root people. It starts by saying this: leaf people. These are people who come into your life just for a season. You can't depend on them because they are weak. They only come to take what they want, but if the wind comes, they will leave. You need to be careful of these people because they love you when things are okay, but when the wind comes, they will leave you. Then you have the branch people. They are strong, but you need to be careful with them too. They break away when life becomes tough and they can't handle too much weight. They may stay with you for some seasons. Keep in mind, some seasons, but they will go when it becomes harder. And then you have the root people. These people are very important because they don't do things to be seen. They are supportive even if you go through a difficult time. They will water you and they are not moved by your position. They love you just like that. So just remember, not all people will stay with you. Only the root type of people will stay no matter the season. And I thought that this was really important. And I know some of us have, you know, done things or experienced things or had people in our places, in our spaces. And we may have thought that they were root people, people that had our back, people that could stand the test of time or trials or tribulations, people that could see you at certain stages of your life only to discover that they may have been a leaf or they may have been a branch person. And so this evening, I wanted to encourage you guys to think about the people that are in your space, right? And I want you to think about where those people fit into your life. Now, sometimes you may not know if that person is there for a season or if they're, going to be there for several seasons, and even if they're going to be root people. However, there was one thing that I thought about in a little bit more detail, just thinking about how I was at different seasons of my life. So, one of the things that I'm more intentional about now is being more spirit led when it comes to the connections that I have with people. Um, I didn't always used to be that way. I used to just meet people, hang out with people, chill with people. You have boundaries and so on and so forth. But I don't think that I was as careful or as cognizant as I should have been in my earlier half of, connecting to people. I used to also didn't think that it was too much of a big deal when it came to connecting to people. I just thought, it is what it is until I got to this place where I started to learn and understand that spiritually, if you connect to the wrong person, this could be very detrimental to your path, to your purpose, to your calling, to your destiny, and different things like that. So I had to learn, of course, through experience, because experience is always a great teacher, right? But also just by the connections that got placed in my own life. I have been able to look back on my life and be able to see those people that were leaves and see those people that were branches. And I'm also able to recognize those people in my life that are root people. And so I wanted to bring more attention to that, also encouraging you to be more mindful of this as you continue to go forward in life. Um, One thing that I have started to do is whenever I come into contact with people, especially in different types of environments, whether that's professionally, whether that's spiritually, whether it comes up in my spirit that I need to connect to somebody, I am like, okay, Lord, what is their purpose in my life? Why are they here? What is it that they need from me? And what is it that I may need from them? Um, and I try to be as patient as I can to wait for the leading of Holy Spirit for him to be able to tell me, okay, hey, this person is going to be in your space for this. Now, he may not give me all of the details. He may just say, go forward or meet with them or interview them or something like that. And we may not have all the details at that time. However, um, I do try to be intentional about asking that purpose or who, why are they here? What do they need from me? What do I need from them? And then to push it forward past that, let's just say, for instance, that you've had some people, and I'm learning this as well, that you've had some people that have been in your space for an extended period of time. One of the things that was more difficult for me, and it's more difficult for most people even when I'm coaching, when I'm counseling, even when I'm consulting with people about their businesses, they're saying, hey, I have this person that's in my space, and we've got this, we built this bond, or we have whatever, and it, even though that connection may not be serving them, or they may not be serving, each other, they still somehow manage to maintain or keep those people around, even though they're toxic, even though they're not helping them, even though they may know that they are hindering them and their progress, or whatever the case may be. So we have to be mindful about, those types of things, not being afraid to let those people go, where no matter what their season is, either they're leaf people, branch people, or root people. The root people we typically don't have to let go, even though you guys may not be collectively together as cohesively as you were in one season versus another. We still have to be mindful, in a sense that we are paying attention, right, to those connections to people, and not being afraid to leave or to remove ourselves when we feel like those connections are not serving us in the way that we know that they should be serving us. Um, so on to the next part. I've given you guys just a little bit of background, a little bit of snippet of different things, but I want you to think about this importance when it comes to your spiritual connections, your business connections, um, and even your other personal connections, when it comes to friends, when it comes to business partnerships, all these different things. You want to make sure that you are positioning yourself in the best way that you can. I can't tell you how many times, because of the connections that I have had in my life with certain people in certain seasons, that it opened up a lot of doors for me, and and I'm speaking of positive doors at this point. It opened up a lot of doors for me, in order for me to be able to get to the next level in my business, or to get to the next level in my coaching or my consulting, to get to the next level spiritually or personally. And so without having those intentional connections, whether they're seasonal or root, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was managing those connections properly. The same thing goes when it comes to spiritual connections. If you guys are familiar with the things of the spirit, you know that those spiritual connections are extremely important, because you can connect to the wrong thing and the wrong people, and then you can start bringing things into your life that you may not have ever been meant to experience, or so on and so forth. So we just have to be really mindful of those types of things. Now, at the same time, on the flip side, guess what? If you have the wrong connections, right, then those can also hinder your business progress. Like, say, for instance, I don't know if you've ever heard the term, one bad apple spoils the bunch. And I think that that collectively is something that is very, very, it is very true. But sometimes people look at you by who you're associated with, right? And whoever that association with, sometimes they look at you depending on if that's a good association or not. So we also have to be mindful of that when it comes to our connections. We also have to pay attention to the people that are in our space, or the people that we are connected to, because some people will drain you. Some people, like that saying said with the leaves, they come in to take what they can take, to get what they can, and once they've accomplished that, then they're off. And for some of us, this is a really hard shift, because some people operate from this very pure place, and they operate from this place where they feel like, I treat people how I would like to be treated, and so on and so forth. So, when we extend ourselves, or we pour out, or we give to others, and they take advantage of us, then a lot of times we feel a way about that. But if we were more intentional about our connections, and we were spirit led in our connections, we may have gotten the memo, like, hey, keep this one at arm's length, or no, don't connect to that one because of who they're associated with, or different things like that. So that's just something, guys, to just keep in the forefront of your mind. Um, because you don't want to find yourself dealing with things and people that are always draining you. Because if that's happening, then you're going to be distracted. You're not going to be focused on the things that you need to be focused on, because they're draining your energy. And so just be mindful of that. That kind of falls more in the leaf category, y'all. So just think about that. One thing I also had to remember when it came to the connections that I had is to know and understand a little bit better who I'm assigned to. I'm not assigned to everything and everyone. And I think depending on certain circumstances, we may just connect ourselves. We may feel like we have to be there for everybody or everything that comes into our space and our place, especially those of us that have really big hearts. So we have to be mindful, guys, to not be overextending ourselves or connecting ourselves to things and people that God didn't really ask us to connect ourselves to, because you will find yourself drained, possibly. You will find yourself overextended, tired, and you're still kind of sort of distracted from whatever it is you're supposed to be doing, because you've inserted yourself into a place that you may not have ever needed to be inserted in the first place. And then the last thing I wanted you guys to be mindful of when it comes to your connections. And I may do a different live about this because I find this to be a big deal for some people. We have to be mindful in these connections to not enable others. Um, I think I'm going to do another live about that, but just a basic background about that. Just making sure that the connections that you have, you are not enabling that individual to be dependent on you or to always be calling you, or, just different things. Like, you can't be the first person or shouldn't be the first person that these people always call on or look to or run to for help or support. For certain purposes. They should be running to God for those purposes, actually, and being led to you in order for you to help if that's what He'll have you to do. However, I've found that in different seasons with myself a long time ago, and even with dealing with clients, we sometimes enable our, as business owners, sometimes we enable our staff. Sometimes we, you know, do certain things that's like, hey, that they got to learn how to do it on their own, or they got to figure it out on their own. They can't always pick your brain or rely on you to be able to do certain things for you. And these things can also negatively impact you spiritually or your business, and so on and so forth, guys. So this wasn't supposed to be a super long live. I just wanted to bring to your intentions to focus in on the connections that you have. And if you are not clear about why somebody is in your place and in your space, maybe it's a time for you to go ahead and ask the Father, why are they here? Did you send them? What is it that they need from me? And what is it that I need from them? Um, and to be more intentional about it. Place people where they're supposed to be placed. Sometimes we want to put people into positions and places that they were never really supposed to occupy. An example of that could be, you had somebody that was coming in to the ministry or whatever, and they were only supposed to work in children's ministry, hypothetically speaking, but they have found themselves in a higher up position doing something else that they were never necessarily meant to do. So just be mindful of that, guys, as you're going on. Identify if you have those leaves, if you can. Identify those branches that are in your life, and identify those root people in your life. And then once you're able to do that, hopefully that will help you to either keep those connections going if you're spirit led, or it will help you to say, hey, maybe this is not a good connection for me, and maybe you may have to sever ties, or eventually, or let that person go, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that is all that I have for you guys this evening. Don't forget that I still, like I said, for those of you that may have come on a little bit longer, I do have my journals, I do have my affirmation cards, and I also do have my book available if you guys would like to purchase that. If you feel like somebody could utilize this information this evening, please like, comment, and share it with others. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to join me this evening, the Mental Wellness Sanctuary, with your host, Coach Frances McMillan, licensed mental health therapist and business mentor here in Jacksonville, Florida. Remember, guys, your connections matter, and so do you. Have a good evening. Good night.